I'm one of the pastors here, and excited to be together today. It's a special day for us, as tomorrow we are sending off a team to Rwanda for 10 days. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because you're going to hear a lot more about it in the next hour or so. But if you would stand with us, I want to invite you to sing. We come together each week to remember Jesus Christ and to celebrate his gift and his love. And so we sing together. We will take some time to pause and reflect together. We'll take communion towards the end, but there's a lot of stuff in the middle. So let's worship together. Sing with us. This is Your Love Awakens Me. There were walls between us. By the cross you came and broke them down. You broke them down. And there were chains around us. By your grace we are no longer bound. No longer bound. You called me out of the grave. You called me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater and your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater and your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Feel the darkness shaking. All the dead are coming back to life. I'm back to life. Hear the song awaken. All creation singing, we're alive. 'Cause you're alive. You called me out of the grave. You called me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Oh, your love is greater and your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater and your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shout it out. We're alive, 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shout it out. We're alive, 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shout it out. We're alive, 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found. Death can't hold us down. We shout it out. We're alive, 'cause you're alive. Your love is greater and your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater and your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Amen.
When all I see is the battle, and you see my victory. When all I see is the mountain, you see a mountain move. And when I walk through the shadow, Your love surrounds me. There's nothing to fear now, for I am safe with you. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet, and I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. And if you are for me, who can be against me? For Jesus, there's nothing impossible for you. Come on. Yeah. When all I see are the ashes, you see the beauty. Oh. When all I see is the cross, God, you see the empty tomb. Oh. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet, and I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. An almighty fortress, you go before us. Sing it.
Nothing can stand against the power of our God.
You shine in the shadows, you win every battle.
Nothing can stand against the power of our God.
An almighty fortress, you go before us.
Nothing can stand against the power of our God.
You shine in the shadow, and you win every battle. And nothing can stand against the power of our God. Whoa. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet, and I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. So when I fight, I'll fight on my knees with my hands lifted high. Oh God, the battle belongs to you, and every fear I lay at your feet, and I'll sing through the night. Oh God, the battle belongs to you. Hey, as we continue, we're going to enter into a time of Selah. Barbara, you can come on up. But just so you know, and you can have a seat, one thing I did want to bring to mind is that next week, we are not going to be meeting here at 4 o'clock. We will be meeting here at 10:30 in the morning. And that's because there are at least 3 times a year that we intentionally join with Gateway Church. They are incredibly gracious towards us with office space and the use of this building and the use of everything that we have here. They partner with us so well. They are very gracious to us. And so we join with them a few times a year, and it's awesome. It's great. It doesn't look like Roots, and it doesn't look like Gateway, I don't think, in many ways. I mean, it's certainly a partnership that we have with them. So I want to encourage you to come at 10:30 next Sunday, not 4 o'clock, okay? Because if you're here at 4 o'clock, you can give me a call, but I'm going to be in Rwanda anyway, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, so go ahead, Barb.
Hello, Roots. Dom made the mistake of telling me that I had more time than I thought to share, So I might share a little bit more than I meant to, but Selah is a time just for us to stop and rest and just think about what God is saying to us and what we want to say to God. And I have the joy of introducing it today. And what's been on my mind is I'm one of the people going to Rwanda, and I thought a lot about what brought us to this point. And to tell you this story, I thought I'm not going to share this whole story because it's way too long, but when Down told me that, I said, okay, I'll share it a little bit more. So Frank and I have been to Africa 3 times. Well, this will be our 3rd trip. And our first trip was 18 years ago? Yeah, 18 years ago. And at that time, when we went to Africa, God spoke to us in a shout. So I was a MD PhD student. Frank was a graduate. I guess he had finished his graduate degree by that point, and I was really struggling with what to do with my career. And I heard a man speak. His name is Gary Haugen, and some of you have heard this story, who was the founder of the International Justice Mission, which is an organization that helps to take people out of, who are not represented and take them out of unjust situations. And he challenged us to use our careers and our teachings to help other people. And I got down on my knees that day and I prayed and I said, God, what do you want to do with my career? I wanted to, solve cancer and do all these things, and I wasn't really sure anymore if that's what God wanted. So 2 days later, the leader of the Christian Mission and Dental Association, who I really only knew a little bit, came to me and said, God came to me in a prophetic dream and told me that you are going to come to an international medical missions conference in Kentucky. So I'm in Wisconsin at this point. There's one spot left in my minivan, and it's for you. Wow. And I said, So I am not going to Kentucky. This is a Monday. And he said it was on Friday. I said, no, I'm not going. We have tickets to a Newsboys concert. I am not going. We really did. And he said, no, God told me you are to go to this missions conference. And I said, well, fine. If I can find somebody to take this ticket, then I'll go. So I was leading worship at the time, and I said to my fellow worship leaders, just kind of casually at one of our practices, you wouldn't want to go to a Newsboys concert with Frank, would you? And he was like, sure, when? Tell me. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go. And we did. We ended up, I went to this missions conference. And when I told Frank said, we are not the kind of people who go to Africa. We are the kind of people who give money to people who go to Africa. And I said, well, I don't know, but I think God is leading us. And so, it happened quickly and easily and naturally, and we went and we had an amazing time. And it was great. But, God doesn't always talk in a shout. And fast forward, 18 years later, we're in 2022. And we have now taken care of ailing parents for 8 years. We have 3 children. We have 2 jobs. And I'm very stressed and I'm very tired. And I know that I'm just feeling burnt out. And I'm not really sure what to do about this. And God has not shouted to me in a long time at this point. But what he says to me is, you need to slow down. You need to go back to the basics and remember what it means to be in communion with me. Like, you need to prioritize it and just stop doing things and come back to me. So I said, okay. So at this point, Andreas had started kindergarten. Maybe he was in 1st grade by now. And I have Mondays and Tuesdays off, so I've started carving out a time of my Mondays and Tuesdays, a big chunk of it, to spend time with God. And it was really hard at first because I really felt like, so Mark says to me one day, well, what do you do all day on Mondays and Tuesdays? You must just be like reading books and things. But I've taken that, and it's been hard. I do sometimes feel really guilty about taking that time out, but I've taken that time out to try to experience God in different ways and what it means to, just have a more deeper and meaningful relationship with God and try to listen to him talk instead of shouting to figure out how to have a conversation with him. And that meant trying lots of different things. I read a lot of different books. I journaled. I ran more. I started playing piano again. Like, just whatever it was I could do to experience God, I tried a lot of things. And what I realized was I was resting. That was what rest means. Dom has preached a lot about, well, not Dom, but the team has preached a lot about rest and what that means. And I didn't actually realize that that's what I was doing until 2 years later. And during that time, I did feel a lot more at peace, but I realized that there was still something missing and that I didn't feel like my family was at peace. Like, I felt like my family was still a slave to the busyness and the things we were doing. I mean, they were all good things, but we were just always doing things. We were always at church or youth group or school or sports or ballet or, whatever. Well, not ballet, but ice skating for Saskia. But it was just everything. And I didn't feel like my our family was experiencing God the way that I thought we should and resting the way we should. So we started praying, and I was thinking back to the time when we were in Africa and how much we lived there in a way that was not our agenda, but God's agenda. You know, like every day when we were in Africa, we didn't have a schedule. I mean, we sort of had a schedule, but in Africa, your schedule often is not what you think it's going to be. You know, when we were there, we sometimes didn't know if we had electricity, we sometimes didn't know if we had water. You know, I'd show up in the hospital as a medical student and be told, oh, you're going to help run the ER today. I mean, it was just like, we just did whatever God asked us to do, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And, you know, when people go on missions, they always say that, but that's the kind of thing I wanted our family to experience and to bring it back here to Portland. So we started praying about how could we do that, and I became convinced that we couldn't do it here in Portland. Like, we just have too many things distracting us. You know, there's too many good things to do, too many friends to see, too many things you want to do. And I really felt we had to take ourselves away from that. So we started praying about whether it was the right time to go back to Africa. And I'm going to tell you, friends, it's been 2 years. We've had a lot of complications along the way. I broke an ankle along the way. We were supposed to go to a different country that ended up having a military coup 4 days before we bought our tickets to go to that country. We've had a lot of things happen along the way. But through a lot of prayer and a lot of discussions with people, here we are now, the day before we're going to Rwanda. And I just think it's been just such an answer to prayer, and I'm so hoping that once we experience that as a family there, that's something that we can bring back here to Portland and figure out how to incorporate here. So in this time of Selah, I ask you guys maybe to ponder some and spend time speaking to God about yourselves. You know, how can you start changing in ways that you can maybe carve out a little bit more rest for yourself? How can you experience God differently? And how can you live a little bit more not on your agenda, but more on God's agenda, and just live every day just leaving it out for Him to tell you what He wants you to do with your day? So let's spend a little time doing that.